Hi guys, welcome back. So let's talk about Warren Gatland's first squad. It's his squad for the Six Nations 2023. And in some ways, he's gone back to the old guard. And in some ways, he's looking to the future. It's definitely a squad of two halves. So let's get into it and also talk about a possible team he may well get out of this. So into the forwards here, we've got Rhys Carey, Wyn Jones and Gareth Thomas as the loose head props. Rhys Carey coming back in. It looks like Nicky Smith is the casualty, so that's a pretty tough one for Smith. And at hooker, Ken Owens, the 36-year-old, is the captain, taking over from Biggar or Tipuric. I think it's a good choice as a captain because he's incredibly passionate. He's a good player. He's the first choice probably. But at 36, it's quite a lot of pressure on him. Dowie Lake, the youngster, he's in there. He missed out with injury, I think, in the autumn internationals. And then we see Bradley Roberts, who's a well-travelled South African who has come to the Dragons via Ulster and looks to have displaced Ryan Elias. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes at hooker. Maybe a little bit vulnerable at hooker if Ken Owens is injured. Tight heads, Leon Brown is back in with Thomas Francis and Dylan Lewis, so that looks pretty strong. Then into the second row, we've got Adam Beard, who is the nailed-on starter. Who does he go with? Does he go with Alun Wyn Jones, the 37-year-old veteran? Maybe. Or does he go with one of the new guys here? We've got Rhys Davies, second row, 24-year-old from Ospreys. Big lad, eager to prove himself. David Jenkins, who is 20 years old. We've seen him for Wales under 20, looking very good, but still very young at Exeter. So maybe it's a bit early for him. I don't know. Then out of the blue, we've got Teddy Williams as well. 22-year-old Cardiff lock, hasn't played a lot. So it'll be interesting to see who Gatland goes with there. He's definitely looking at some new second rows, trying to revitalise that area. Into the back row, and the biggest casualty seems to be Ross Moriarty. That may well be the World Cup over for him. But of course, we've got Talupi Faletau. Everyone's going to pick him. Jack Morgan, who we saw so good in the autumn, who had bulked up and was doing some fantastic ball carrying, bulldozing runs. Let's see if he can stay in favour with the new coach. I like there's a good battle here between Rafael and Tipuric, who are fairly similar in some ways. Rafael, the all-action 7. Tipuric may have lost a tiny bit of pace and physicality, but he started at such a high bar. He's still a class operator, so fascinating to see who wins the battle for open side. Then we've got the athlete that is Chris Schwinzer. What a fantastic player he is. In the future, maybe he'll go in the second row. He could be used as an emergency second row, certainly as a good line-out option. Is he going to be at 6 or 7, used off the bench? Fascinating to see. And then the man that's coming back is Aaron Wainwright, only 25, but he's got a lot to give for sure. Gatland maybe is a fan, certainly would add bulk to the back row if he comes in. Now at halfback, he's gone for experience for sure. It looks like he's gone for players that are World Cup ready. Along with Kieran Hardy and Thomas Williams, I was expecting to see Blacker, but actually he's brought back Rhys Webb. It's a long time out for him. He's a good player. He's not the player he was, but he's experienced. You could slot him straight in there. Fascinating to see what the pecking order will be with these three. Talking of pecking order, Dan Biggar is surely going to be the number one under Gatland, so that's a brilliant return from injury, a big boost for Wales for him. He's certainly going to start. And then you've got Reece Patchell, who's incredibly reliable. Owen Williams is playing very well, has come back in to the international fold, a good form player, but at 30 years old, maybe his time was coming to an end, but he's back in, has a good charge at the World Cup. Has played 12 before, but I don't think he's going to play 12 in this team. But, whatever way you mix it with those halfbacks, it's going to be experience. They're not going to be phased. Then the centres is probably the most exciting area of the selection. We've got Mason Grady, an uncapped player, 6'6", 20 years old, massive guy, a scary prospect, along with Joe Hawkins, who's a very physical centre. Could they be the future of the Welsh centre partnership? Hopefully we will see them in the Six Nations at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later. Another good return from injury for Wales is George North, and odds on, if he gets back to his best, he's going to be Gatland's 13, I'm pretty sure about it. Nick Tompkins, though, has got a fight on his hands with these new guys coming in. We've got Kieran Williams, who's another new centre, a lot smaller than the other new centres, but a real pocket rocket, so plenty to choose from for Gatland there, really having a look at the second rows and the centres. Into the back three, and no massive surprises here. Maybe I'd like to have seen Owen Lane in there, but I can't really argue against these guys. Josh Adams, a class operator, almost certainly a starter. If he wants extra size, he goes for Alex Cuthbert. Rio Dyer showed his quality in the autumn. Lee Halfpenny's back in, who is, old school Gatland, very reliable. It's interesting to see how much he rates him if he's going to start him. Lewis Rees-Zammit is carrying an injury, but still included. He will be involved at some point, hopefully. Probably not for the starter against Ireland, though. And then another good return for Wales. We got Liam Williams, so much experience returning into this squad, but still a lot of new guys as well. So let's have a look at a possible match day 23 to take on Ireland. It's going to be tasty. The captain there at hooker, Ken Owens, flanked by Wyn Jones and Dylan Lewis. Maybe Adam Beard and Alan Wyn-Jones go together. The experience together of Alan Wyn-Jones, throwing one of those youngsters in so early maybe isn't the way to go. But we've got Rhys Davis on the bench, and the front row on the bench, Thomas, Lake and Francis. So another youngster in there in Lake. So mixing in the old guard with a few new guys, but not too many changes, I think, for this first match. At 6, I'll stay with Jack Morgan because he was so good in the autumn, but maybe we could see Wainwright in that back row somewhere as well. Again, close at 7. Rafael maybe could get in there, but staying with Tipuric for now, and Faletau, so staying with a lot of those trusted guys to see if they can come up with the goods under Gatland. I still go with Thomas Williams normally, but it'll be interesting to see who Gatland think is the best 9. Bigger certainly will start at 10. And let's get one of the youngsters in there in the centres, Hawkins alongside George North. That's a physical centre partnership. Then the pace of Adams on one wing, the size of Cuthbert on the other wing, and the reliable Liam Williams at fullback. And on the bench as well, we've got Chris Schwinzer, who could cover all across the back row and maybe even second row if needed. Hardy at 9, Owen Williams covering 10, and Mason Grady, another exciting prospect, coming off the bench covering the centres and possibly the wing as well. So let me know what you think of the squad, of my team, who you put in the squad, who do you put in the starting team in the 23. Pop all the comments below, and I'll catch you next time.